Hollywood Confidential, exclusive. Nearly a decade after 50 Shades of Grey swept the global box office, the two main stars Jaime Dornan and Dakota Johnson unexpectedly reunited for an emotional, funny and slightly awkward behind-the-scenes chat. And this time, they decided to reveal never-before-shared secrets about the filming of the movie that shocked the world. 1. Jaime once wore wool socks in a hot scene. Jaime, I didn't think I'd tell you this, but I actually wore a pair of wool socks. Really thick, handmade from Ireland. It was so cold, you wouldn't believe it. I called it my national defense weapon. Dakota, laughing out loud, I think I even felt it shaking in the scene. We jokingly called it Mr. Grey's woolly secret. 2. Dakota covered Jaime with baby stickers. Dakota, one day I brought a roll of rabbit, superhero, and dinosaur stickers and secretly stuck them on Jaime's back every time he turned his back. Jaime, I didn't know until the director yelled, "Cut! Who put Christian Grey in? Power Rangers?" 3. Every sex scene required a re-signing of the contract. Jaime, no kidding, there were scenes that required a rediscuss of the rules before filming. One scene took 3 days to film. We called it emotional logistics. 4. The director once quietly backed out because it was embarrassing. Dakota, one time, director Sam Taylor Johnson had to walk out because he couldn't handle the tension and absurdity of a scene. She came back after 5 minutes, still red-faced. 5. Jaime tried sexy perfume for the role. Jaime, I tried over 20 perfumes to find the Christian Grey scent. In the end, I chose a musk sandalwood scent. One time I sprayed too much, the whole crew had a headache. 6. Dakota once fell asleep during a BDSM scene. Dakota, the scene was long, back and forth, and I was tied up for exactly 40 minutes in an uncomfortable position. I actually fell asleep. People thought I was too into the role. 7. Jaime secretly named her Whip. Jaime, it's called Sheila. I felt like if I had to use it, I should at least be friendly. 8. There was a scene where they had to listen to EDM to keep the mood going. Dakota, no kidding, before a difficult scene, we listened to Skrillex to get our heart rate up. Then we went into the romantic scene like we were at a rave party. 9. Jaime once argued with his tie. Jaime, I fought with that legendary gray tie 3 times. It wouldn't tie it properly. I think it hated me. 10. They once filmed a sex scene while starving. Dakota, I was on a diet, and Jaime was starving to keep fit. There was a scene where we could hear each other's stomachs growling while the camera was zooming in on our faces. Jaime, I swear, if anyone said, sexy, at that moment, I would have bitten them because I was hungry. Clapperboard 50 Shades of Grey, memories hard to erase. Jaime Dakota continue behind the scenes, broken bed, crazy fans, and a surprise call from Mom. 11. There was a bed that actually broke. Jaime, it's not a joke. During one scene, we were really focused on acting and then crack, the bed broke in half. It's not what you think, it's just that the props were too weak. Dakota, I fell and sat straight on Jaime's stomach. No one was hurt, but filming it again was more like a comedy than an 18+ movie. 12. Dakota was once called by her mother during a sensitive scene. Dakota, I left my phone in my robe during a break. When the camera cut, I heard Mom calling. I answered the phone, and all she said was, "Don't do anything that will land you in the confession room later." 13. Jaime was given real handcuffs by a fan. Jaime, the fan gave me a velvet box. I opened it and found 3-kilogram steel handcuffs and a note that said, "Christian deserves the real thing." I've kept it to this day. 14. The hardest scene was being serious. Dakota, a lot of people think the sex scene was the hardest. No, the scene where I had to ask Jaime, "Do you have a torture chamber?" When I first saw it, I almost burst out laughing. There were cameras, lights, props, and I thought I was in a parody. 15. Jaime learned to not blink when looking at Dakota. Jaime, the director told me to look at her like I want to devour her with my eyes. My eyes were dry, so I blinked every 5 seconds. I ended up putting in eye drops and practicing the killer look. 16. They rehearsed with dolls. Dakota. Some scenes had a flying camera and there couldn't be a real person. So the props brought out a silicone doll, wearing a lace dress. It looked like Annabelle on vacation. 17. They were once locked in the red room. Jaime. That room has a special locking system, and the props assistant forgot to turn on the filming mode. We were locked in for almost 20 minutes, with no phone signal, just a dim red light and awkward laughter. 18. Dakota brought stuffed animals to the set. Dakota. I have a stuffed rabbit called Mr. Buttons. It sits right next to my bed when I'm doing a difficult scene. I said, if I have to do a sensitive scene, at least have a friend to witness it. 19. Jaime says his wife never finished the movie. Jaime. She watched the first 15 minutes and said, enough, I want to keep you as a good dad rather than Christian Grey. I totally agree. 20. They didn't talk for 3 days. Dakota. There was a tense scene, Jaime and I had different ideas about how to act. We were really tense and didn't talk for 3 days. Then Jaime brought us a cup of coffee and a cookie with the word, sorry, written on it. I forgive you. Who can resist coffee? Memo. What do Jaime Dakota say about the legacy of 50 Shades of Grey? Jaime. It wasn't an easy movie. But it changed my life. I learned patience, how to control my emotions, and sometimes how to breathe sexy. Dakota. I don't think I'd do it again. But if I did, I'd still choose Jaime. He's a reliable, if sometimes weird, co-star. Rolled up newspaper conclusion. 50 Shades isn't just a controversial film, it's also the birthplace of a series of behind-the-scenes stories that range from hilarious to endearing. For Jaime and Dakota, it's an adventure that's as adventurous, human, and quirky as Christian Grey himself. Face Mask 50 Shades of Grey, High School Edition. When Christian Grey is just a strict class president and Anastasia Steele is a literature-loving girl, and the teacher is in a panic. Character introduction. Christian Grey, strict class president, always wears the right uniform, carries a leather briefcase, likes to check the class personal hygiene. Has eyes that make the girls voluntarily request a review. Anastasia Steele, transfer student, loves reading classic novels, often accidentally drops books on other people's heads. So innocent that she often calls her teacher mother. Homeroom teacher, Miss Taylor, the only person who knows Christian is actually afraid of needles. PTA, anonymous, often sends anonymous letters of suggestion like, please cut Grey's hair, my child has mixed feelings. Books Chapter 1. First meeting, in Class 12A. Anastasia entered the new classroom, bumping into Christian who was checking the order at the beginning of class. Christian, sternly. You're 5 minutes and 12 seconds late. Do you know the rules of Class 12A? Anastasia, stammering. I am just looking for the bathroom. Christian. Then you should know, in this school, everything has rules. Even going to the bathroom. The two of them made eye contact. The atmosphere became thick. As for the homeroom teacher, pretended to drop the gradebook to avoid awkwardness. Fork and Knife with Plate Chapter 2, Canteen Strawberry Event. Christian invited Anastasia to eat at the cafeteria, but instead of sitting down to eat normally, he spread out a white tablecloth, took out a mini cutlery set from his bento box, and started eating the sushi he brought from home. Anastasia. Why are you carrying a sushi knife? Christian. I don't trust cafeteria knives. I trust standards. And 304 stainless steel. Notebook Chapter 3. The Strict Rules Book. Christian gives Anastasia a book that says, 50 Rules for Class 12A, Personalized Edition. Anastasia. Page 7 says you can't eat chips after 8 p.m. Christian. Preservatives affect sleep and GPA. Mike Chapter 4. Literature Class, When Souls Collide. When the teacher asks the class to read Shakespeare, Christian reads in a deep tone like he's reading a stock transfer contract. Anastasia reads like she's sending a letter to her prehistoric crush. The whole class burst out laughing, but the teacher wrote in the notebook, "These two should play Romeo, Juliet at the final ceremony. But Romeo wearing a vest and tie is a bit wrong." Teacher Chapter 5. The Parents' Association gets involved. One fine day, the homeroom teacher received 12 anonymous letters from parents. "Please don't let my child sit near Gray, he makes them study too hard. Steele asked my child about the existence of destiny. Please leave my child alone. The two of you seem to be exchanging glances that are beyond school standards." End final chapter. 50 Shades of Criticism. Both were invited to the school's union room because they were interacting with each other. Christian wrote a 3-page criticism, Arial format, 3 cm margins, with numbered sections. Anastasia draws a picture of Christian, a briefcase, and the line, "I'm not afraid of your rules." Graduation cap conclusion. The 50 Shades of Grey version shows that when order meets innocence, school suddenly becomes an arena of innocent glances, minutes, and emotions. Love can start with a look, but in high school, love can also be written down in the notebook.